Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into our event tonight, HDS Alumni, what are they up to now? And this is a question that we get all the time here in admissions. What do I do with a degree from Harvard Divinity School? And the truthful answer is that you can do anything with a degree in theological and religious studies. It's like studying economics or sociology. You can take these fields of study with you into any professional pursuit. But this can be sort of difficult to narrow down or envision. So I'm joined today by a really wonderful panel of HDS alumni. We're going to share with you about their experiences and how they narrowed down their options and carved their own pathway forward with their HDS degree. And I'm also going to be joined by my really wonderful colleague, Chandra Mohammed, who is our Associate Director for Alumni Relations. And you'll get a chance to meet her in just a moment. To introduce myself, I'm Alessandra Ludeking, and I am the admissions officer at Harvard Divinity School. I've been with HDS for about a year and a half now, but I've been with Harvard a little bit longer in the admissions office at Harvard Law School as well. So again, it's a really great pleasure for me to be here tonight with all of you. And what you can expect from today's event, it's going to take us about 45 to 50 minutes to do the panel discussion with our alumni members and our moderator, Chandra. But I'll go ahead and start us off with about a 10-minute overview at the beginning with just highlighting the opportunities and resources available at HDS. We are here for you. Our panelists are here for you. Our moderators here for you. So please do take advantage of the Q&A chat box to chat away your questions. We'll make sure to save some time at the end for those as well. So without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera off for this portion of the presentation, just these 10 minutes, and then I will be right back with you in just a few moments. Okay, so the first thing that I really want to highlight about Harvard Divinity School is that we are the most religiously pluralistic divinity school in the world. This is not an exaggeration. It is a very intentional part of our identity. We were founded in 1816 as the first non-sectarian divinity school in the United States. And non-sectarian just means non-religiously affiliated. So what exactly does that look like for us at HDS? Well, it means that we have more than 45 religious traditions represented in our student body. And of course, including students that don't associate with a particular religious tradition. And we have more than 45 student organizations that really offer a vibrant part of our community. And of those 45 student organizations, 25 are spiritually affiliated in some capacity. So again, we have a really vibrant community life with more than 20 weekly gatherings and 60 student-led special events every year. But the number I'm most impressed by is that last one, more than 500 yearly recurring worship services, social gatherings, workshops, and group meetings. So this is just by the numbers, what it means to be an institution that really hones in on our pluralistic identity. Okay. The second thing that I want to identify is, of course, our academic offerings. We have scholars and leaders who truly make a world of difference. And Harvard Divinity School is one of the larger divinity schools in the country. And so as a big school, there are, of course, big opportunities available to our current students. So our faculty of divinity are among the most distinguished scholars of religion and practitioners of ministry in the world. As you can see on the slide here, we have more than 85 research professors, visiting faculty, and others offering instruction in the world's top major religious traditions that include Buddhism, Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, and Judaism. We also have 12 denominational counselors that teach religious or denominationally specific courses, and they serve as a resource to our students who are interested in pursuing ordination in a specific denomination. As you can see, we also offer more than 200 courses that are designed to appeal to a broad spectrum of interests. But really, this number goes up if our students take advantage of the generous cross-registration policy that we have with our Harvard graduate programs, which includes the 8 master's level programs across Harvard, including the Education School, the business school, the law school, the Kennedy School of Public Policy. All of these graduate programs are available for cross-registration. In addition, Harvard Divinity School is a member of the Boston Theological Interreligious Consortium, which is a consortium of 10 other schools within the Massachusetts area that offer instruction in theology and religion. So with all of this together, there are really more than 800 classes to choose from and more than 400 faculty members available to our students at HDS. Again, just a quick snapshot of academic opportunity here. Now, which degree programs do we offer in particular? We have 4, and I want to start by talking about the Master of Theological Studies, which is the most popular degree program offered at HDS. The MTS is a 2-year full-time degree, and it's really for students who are looking to explore really deeply and broadly the languages, the thoughts, the normative claims, the structures of a variety of theological fields. And so this degree program really enables our students to think critically and with sophistication and self-awareness about the scholarly study of these concepts and traditions. There are 18 areas of focus that you can select from, and there is generous institutional grant aid available for the MTS. Our second most popular degree program is the Master of Divinity, or the MDiv, which is a 3-year full-time degree. This one we affectionately term is for our 21st century spiritual leaders. This is for students who are learning the art of ministry, and we very intentionally define ministry with a lowercase m here. Ministry is broadly conceived for us, which includes essentially any service-oriented work that you are passionate about doing and working with community. So you'll learn the skills such as preaching and pastoral care and community organizing to help support you in that pursuit. And just like the MTS, we do offer generous institutional grant aid for this program. Our Master of Theology, the THM, is a little bit more niched. This is a 1-year full-time degree for those who already have a Master of Divinity and they're looking to pursue sort of a new direction or advance their studying of a particular area of study. So the THM is, again, intended for those who already have the MDiv and they're just looking to clarify their thinking. We don't have grant aid available for this program, but there is a lot of federal funding options for this. And then finally, we have our Master of Religion and Public Life, which is our newest degree program, the MRPL. This is a 1-year full-time degree, and it's also really unique. It's designed for experienced professionals already who are looking to take a pause from their careers to investigate the ways that religion influences the work that they do in their secular fields. So they engage in a year of extensive research to complete a final project that they share with the larger HDS community at the end of the year. Like the THM, we don't have institutional grant aid available for this program, but there are various federal funding options. Okay, speaking of funding, we do have very comprehensive institutional grant aid at HDS. In particular, we offer 2 types of grant aid, need-based and merit. Need-based is really where the majority of our resources goes to. We do feel that students who need the money most should get it, which is why 90% of our applicants to the MTS and MDiv degrees receive some form of grant aid, the bare minimum of which is 3/4 tuition. For those students with more need, we cover full tuition, and for those students with most need, we cover full tuition and a $12,000 living expense stipend. Need-based aid does require a separate financial aid application, and our financial aid office reaches out to all MTS and MDiv candidates sometime in mid-January with this information. Now, we do award a very, very small pool of merit aid to candidates based on the overall strength of their application. Consideration for merit aid is automatic. There is no separate application process for this. And if it is awarded, includes a full tuition grant and a modest stipend ranging from $12,000 to $20,000. And all merit award decisions are released by the admissions committee at the point of admission and are final. That's a quick overview. And then finally, the last thing I want to mention quickly is the application process. As you can see, the application components on this slide. I won't really go into detail about this right now. We do have various virtual events happening later this fall, over the course of this month and December, where you can touch base with any one of us in the admissions office for particular questions about these components. But I did want to mention that our application is currently open for those 4-degree programs that I referenced earlier. And we will be extending interview invitations sometime in late January, early February, which is also around the same time that the Financial Aid Office will be reaching out to all MTS and MDiv candidates for need-based consideration. And then finally, all admissions decisions will be released in mid-March. If you do have any particular questions about the admissions process or application related questions, please do not hesitate to email us. In addition, we have an email address, the ask_students, which is intended for those of you who have questions about student life. We have current students who monitor that inbox, so do take advantage. And then of course, a wonderful blog and Instagram account that is a great resource for those of you who want to keep updated on what Harvard Divinity School is up to. And with that, I've been doing a ton of talking, so I really do want to invite our moderators, Chandra Mohammed, and our wonderful panel of alumni, Joshua, Reverend Marcus, Yasmin, and Kayla. Go ahead and turn your cameras on and take it from here. Thank you, Chandra.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Alessandra. And I just put a little chat in the chat box for everyone to share their locations, because we do love to see where everyone is kind of calling in from. So again, thank you, everyone, and Alessandra for having me. My name is Chandra Mohammed. I am the Associate Director for Alumni Relations at Harvard Divinity School. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm helping to host and moderate today's wonderful panel of alumni speakers. I was so excited to partner again with Alessandra and our fabulous colleagues from Admissions. And I'm actually even just as excited to introduce you to our equally fabulous alumni. So as you hopefully have already seen from your experience so far, HDS is a really special place. And what makes it so special is our incredible community of students, faculty, staff, and alumni. Though we all embody different perspectives, interests, and identities, we share a common goal for creating a more just and humane world. So with that, I'm going to ask our panelists start us off by introducing themselves, including their degree, year, and what you're up to now. So let's just go in alpha order. So I'll start with you, Joshua.
Well, it's such a privilege and a pleasure to be here with everyone. So yeah, my name is Joshua, or Josh Krug. I was an MDiv in Judaism, finished in 2013, coming up in almost like a decade. And I'm out in California, in Palo Alto. I work at a high school. I'm the director of Jewish life and learning at a high school out here in Palo Alto.
Excellent. Thank you, Josh. All right, so we're going to move on to Reverend Marcus.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Sorry for my poor lighting. I'm going to figure that out. I'm Reverend Marcus McCullough. I'm a Master of Divinity graduate from Harvard 2010, currently working in Springfield, Massachusetts as both a senior pastor of an AME church and a full-time staff chaplain here at Bay State Medical Center. Glad to be with you.
Thank you, Marcus. Yasmin, you're next.
Hello, everybody. My name is Yasmin Shaheen McConnell. I'm currently calling in from the Albuquerque airport, so I'm sorry about the background noise. I'm on work travel today. I graduated from Harvard Divinity School in 2013 with an MTS degree with my concentration in religion, ethics, and politics. And I am currently serving the Biden-Harris administration at one of the smaller federal agencies called AmeriCorps, the Agency for National Service and Volunteering. My appointment is to be our Senior Advisor for Strategic Partnerships, which means I focus on the President's priority areas at the agency, as well as public-private partnerships and interagency partnerships and faith-based and neighborhood partnerships. And I'm also our Acting Strategic Advisor for Native American Affairs. I'm so glad to be with you all today.
Excellent. Thank you, Yasmin. Kayla, you're next.
Hi, everybody. I am Kayla J. Smith. I graduated from HDS in 2021 with my Master of Divinity. I focused on womanism and African American religious and cultural studies. And I'm calling in from my hometown, Memphis, Tennessee, where I currently am a community organizer in the neighborhood where my folks are from, historic Orange Mound, Tennessee. And I'm also a program manager helping out minority business owners and focusing on social entrepreneurship. I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. Well, thank you all for joining us from many different parts of the country. So we're going to start off. So we do have 3 questions that we think are pertinent to everyone. And then as time allows, we will answer other questions from the guests today. So let's start off. Why did you attend HDS? Why did you decide to attend HDS? So why don't we start with Yasmin?
All right. I decided to attend HDS because a fantastic person who I do not remember and wish I did saw me on my fast track way to go to law school or public policy school and took me aside and was like, you know, do we need more lawyers? And I'm sure we do. But they asked me if you could spend 2 years just studying anything you wanted to do, just studying, what would you want to do? And I was like, you know, I think I'd actually like to study religion and politics. Like, I grew up in a really multi-faith household in a family with a lot of interesting faith dynamics and consider myself one of the many and growing nuns. So it wasn't necessarily the Master's of Divinity wasn't going to be right for me, but I decided to go to HDS when I just kind of Googled it and I was like, where can I study religion and politics? And I almost went to public policy school at the last minute. I decided instead to go to HDS, and I'm really excited about that. I'm really grateful every day that whoever that wonderful soul is who gave me that advice did so. So that's how I ended up going. I just found a program that I thought would be fun to be in for a couple of years and got really lucky in the end, because I think it's so important to say it that I'm one of the many people that got financial aid from Harvard to be able to do the program, which made it financially possible for me to take that kind of a risk. So that's why I ended up going. And thanks, Chandra.
Excellent. No, thank you. Okay, let's move on to Marcus. So why did you decide to attend HDS?
Certainly. Well, I knew that I was heading into ministry, not necessarily parish ministry. And so I needed an MDiv for my denomination, but I also had a great interest in study and scholarship. My undergraduate degree was in religion, and I wanted to be in an environment to keep that academic study going. And I really, really wanted an interfaith environment that was important to me. And so HDS was the perfect fit. And I ended up getting what I asked for and even more.
Excellent. Thank you. All right, Kayla, why did you decide to attend HDS?
I ended up choosing HDS because I had a wonderful religion professor in undergrad. So my undergrad major was human rights and justice, and I studied a lot of different things. And so my religion professor was like, Kayla, you should check out this diversity and explorations program. And I got invited to do so. And where HDS fly out different people and they like give you a place to stay. You get to hear about what's going on with the school, with students and the professors. And I went in 2016. So much going on in the world. And it was the first Harambe Students of African Descent conference. And so I was just in awe to like see myself being represented in this way, and like how it was so much seriousness and like dignity to what they were studying. And like, I was just fascinated. So I was like, I need to come try this out. And I had no idea intentions of like around divinity school, but like going there really showed me I can just come here and learn. So I'm thankful that I did. And so that's how I got there.
Excellent. Thank you. All right, Josh, you're next. Why did you decide to attend HDS?
Well, I wanted to be a bridge between my community and all kinds of other folks across the world wanting to learn. I felt like I kind of grew up in a little bit of a narrow environment, or at least a parochial environment, and felt like it would be so cool and so valuable for me in my journey to be able to be surrounded by a different kind of diversity than the kind which I'd experienced. Just to give a sense of that, like I'd considered rabbinical school, and that choice is amazing for folks who want to go in that direction. But I guess I felt at that time when I was thinking about divinity that wanted to learn Judaism and Jewish tradition in a very serious manner, but also wanted to be able to get to know folks like the folks on this panel, and maybe some of you, folks from across the world with all kinds of relationships with faith and with identity and with the study of religion. And so, I got what I was looking for. I mean, some of my dearest friends to this day are folks I met in divinity school, and they're, Baptist ministers or scholars of Buddhism, et cetera, et cetera. And so I'm really glad I made the choice I did.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Okay. Marcus, did we ask you already why you decided to attend? Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to go in order, not making the first person last or the last person first all the time. So thank you guys for being patient with me. Okay, so let's move on to our next question is, what do you value most from your HDS experience? And how has your experience shaped your career trajectory after graduating? So why don't we, I'll go in reverse alphabetical order so I do not forget or where I kind of popcorned around. So Kayla, what do you value most from your HDS experience?
What I value most is, I have to say for sure, the people that I met from the very first, from the DivX program, and even just, I love attending panels like these, getting to know people. Folks were just so generous and willing to talk to you about, and I like doing that too, because it's that's how you pass it forward, and that's just a real true sense of community. I really got to understand community, not in a abstract feel good way. People really showed up for each other and challenged each other, and I got to see how complex everybody's stories are and experiences are, and then how we can use our beliefs and values to guide us. So definitely the people, and like I say, even people that I met now too, just as Josh was saying, that these are lifelong folks that I have in my circle. I'm so looking forward next year to seeing my girls for my bachelorette trip, and these are folks I met at HDS. We are all across the country, and we're just still keeping in touch. So I just really am so thankful to get a true sense of what community is and what it can look like too, wherever I go after graduation.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, Josh, same question for you.
Oh yeah, great. So I would say, well, definitely value the relationships with peers that I still keep to this day, and then relationships with professors who, shaped my intellectual journey, my spiritual journey, and that I'm also still in touch with. Folks have written letters of recommendation for me in different places that I ended up going. Also, I want to kind of bring out what Kayla just noted too. I feel like it's a little bit of a city on a hill in this crazy world we live in, and kind of being able to learn from that experience of community, and hopefully to replicate it, but not necessarily exactly the same. I mean, in the different environments in which we go in our lives, I have if you look behind me, there's the school I work at, we say everyone counts, and we sort of celebrate learning. And I think that I learned a ton about those kinds of values from Harvard Divinity School. And so I've been able to use that example in my own practice as an educator and as someone who's involved in administration as well.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, Marcus, so what do you value most from your HDS experience?
Well, I think we're all gonna probably highlight the same things.
Okay.
The relationships is it's still a gift to me. I was just at the alumni day last weekend and just enjoying all of the relationships that HDS gave with to me, whether professors or other students, relationships across faith traditions. And I just appreciate that. I think I learned how to converse deeply at HDS. And I think sort of something Josh sort of alluded to, we don't necessarily know how to do that in today's times. And so I'm just grateful for the opportunity to be able to do that, and for it to be normal and normalized and part of where you can disagree and have stronger relationships, and not the other way around. So that was something really, really special for me.
Excellent, thank you. All right, Yasmin.
I'm going to try to say something different just for fun. I think I'll say a couple different things. Alessandra mentioned the opportunity in the MTS program to take classes across the university, which I took full advantage of, and I really valued that. Like, it's fantastic not just to get a really dynamic cross. This is the best, one of the best universities in the entire world. So why wouldn't you want to take advantage of the opportunity if available to you? So I'd certainly say that. And I participated in university-wide student government, which also meant that I could obviously we've talked about how fantastic our peers are at HDS, but there's a lot of really interesting people across the university too. So it was fantastic to have that. And then I'd say in terms of how it shaped my career trajectory, I got my first job after HDS from an HDS alum. And there was a professor at the business school who had gotten a degree at HDS who put me in contact with that person, and that person helped me get a job. And it's also a really fantastic network of folks who care deeply about the training that we all receive. I know Emily Cliff just retired, but she had a phenomenal leadership course that I really learned a lot from, and still employ the tactics of today. And I think we sort of recognize that as alums and really try to help folks out who had the opportunity to go through this program.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, so let's move on to, we are getting a few questions in through the Q&A as well as through a like a survey that we sent out beforehand. So my next question is, what do you wish you knew before you attended HDS? And so I guess we can start with Josh.
Great. So I think I'm the kind of person who, likes to relish the moment and just be where I am. It's like part of my own personality, etc. But so I think if I go back in time, I would as soon as I got in, I'd start I don't want to say pounding the pavement. I'd send emails to professors. I'd learn where to live in Somerville and Cambridge and this place and that. I'd start thinking of myself as a student or as a future student so that I could begin getting ready and making it happen. Because the truth is, I was there 3 years, which actually is kind of long, but even at the time it felt short. And this is an amazing opportunity. And how do you get ready, get going, and understand what it can be about for you and where you can benefit the most and give the most too. I think as soon as you have the opportunity, jump in. That's my advice.
Exactly. Okay, Marcus.
Yeah, I think that's great. I'll turn a little bit to the academic side. I studied religion in undergrad, but I wish I'd had a bit more or a lot more preparation for the kind of reading that graduate studies in religion requires. I think I obviously made it out alive, thank you, Lord. But there were times where I really struggled. And there were so many texts that we had to read at once, and you have to sort of know how to attack them, for lack of a better term. So if there was probably one thing on the academic side I wish was a little stronger, it would have been greater training in theological and religious reading for academia.
Excellent. Okay, thank you very much, Marcus. Let's move on to Kayla.
I would have to say, since I got to spend half of my time on campus and I finished up virtually because of the pandemic. So, and I think I definitely took advantage of so many things, but I would have done it even more, going to this program or exploring places outside of Boston. I did some of that, but I just really would have amplified that more because there's just so much to do. And that time does go by really quickly. And also thinking about too, just how the personal growth and challenges, I think I had no idea, so there's gonna be so much going on in your life when you're in divinity school, personally and in the world. And it's just to get yourself mentally, physically, spiritually prepared for that. I don't know if I still could have been prepared, but just to really be okay, settle up. That I really wish I could have but I'm still thankful for it. And now after the fact, I think I was so used to, and it was a challenge too, right? Learning how to read all these different texts and different backgrounds, but I got so used to reading full-length books from this, and now it's I'm in full-time employment that it's so easy for me to have multiple jobs. So because I'm this is nothing now, you know, and I get paid to do it. So it's like, I definitely am like thankful for the experience, but I would have, taken in more of the advantages and just prepared myself.
Great. That's great advice. Thank you, Kayla. Yasmin, so what do you wish you knew before you attended HDS?
I have two specific things. I hope Alessandra can put it in the chat. The first is about your opportunity, and I'm not going to describe this right. The MDiv colleagues will definitely correct me here, but there's an opportunity to do like field study or like end up, okay, great. I see nods. I didn't know MTS students could do that. And I ended up doing it for the summer between my first and second year. But I scrambled to get it done like it wasn't part of my plan. And if it had been, I think I would have been really thoughtful with it. It was fantastic. I ended up working on a peace building grant in Northern Ireland with Catholic priests and Protestant ministers, and it was an incredible experience. But I think you can put a lot of good thought into it if you know it's available to you. So that's the first thing I'd say. And the second one is don't sleep on your language exam if you're an MTS student. I did. And I didn't pass it the first time, and I was real stressed the last month of school with the hopes that I would be able to graduate having passed my language test. So that's the only other thing I'd say.
Thank you very much, Yasmin. Okay, so we are going to turn now to some live Q&As. I would say live, meaning they were just kind of put into the box. So this is the first question. Could you please describe a formative experience or transformational class from your time at HDS? And for these questions that are coming from the audience, feel free to just jump in. I won't make everyone answer every question, so I'll let you guys kind of have a discussion. So could you please describe a formative experience or transformational class from your time at HDS?
Okay, I got one.
I'm happy to go first.
Oh, go for it.
Josh, go, and then I will. Okay, all right.
Well, real quick.
The first one I mentioned was Emily Click's. Okay, I'll go. Emily Click's leadership class. I have no idea who teaches it now. It's phenomenal. That's what I'd say. Followed by, there was a class on race and incarceration at HDS, and it was really, really valuable. And really the perspective of not just the professor, but my colleagues in the room totally changed the way I think about incarceration and race in the United States and helped us process collectively, I think, a lot of race-based trauma and a lot of the killings of Black men that were happening in the community at that point in time. So it felt really live and like valuable and grounded in the moments we were having rather than something that was necessarily in the historical past.
I guess just to offer another perspective, another take, I had the opportunity to take public preaching with Reverend Herman Hamilton and Reverend Daniel Smith. These are, I would say, substantial leaders in Christian ministry in these times. I don't know, I haven't really kept track of everything, but like in my world, in my life, in the spaces I had been in, I would not have been able to take such a course to learn how to preach, and to learn how to preach kind of, I feel like I like had the privilege of learning, like, how to talk about a text a little here, a little there, but like really to speak to the emotions. It's something that I hope I benefited from and I learned from, and I hope I bring that into my practice now, but I definitely got that from public preaching.
Excellent. Thank you, Josh and Yasmin. Kayla?
Yeah, thank you. I would say any of my classes with Dr. Cheryl Giles, pastoral counseling, wellness, and just spiritual counseling was just so phenomenal to, again, as personal growth. And I'm definitely using all those tools right now. I don't think I really answered that in the second part of the question from the last one, but like how I'm using it now is just how to be a real facilitator and juggle like different complexities of like people's stories and emotions, and also what you can, what you're able to deal with, and then boundaries for yourself is just such a great thing. And to be able to do that, like not in a traditional ministry, I may not be behind a pulpit, but I get to go do it actually in the streets in the community, and I'm very thankful for it.
Excellent. Marcus?
I will say that there were so many classes and professors and things, but I was on the noon service steering committee, I think, for most of my 3 years there. And just noon service alone was a wonderful experience, experiencing other people's worship in other traditions, but yet structured in a way that was accessible to any member of the HDS community. I think that taught me a lot professionally and personally and strengthened relationships. And it's one of those things that just, as I look back, I'm really, really glad that I participated in that consistently and was a part of planning it, sometimes for other traditions as well.
Excellent. Thank you all for taking on that question. We've gotten quite a few other questions in the box. I am going to actually combine one of them or a couple of them. Some students are, prospective students are curious about how you chose which degree program you were going to go into. A lot of them have different backgrounds, some in film and television, some in other areas that may not be related to divinity. So I would love for any of you to answer a question of how you chose your program and what advice you would give to prospective students for choosing theirs. You know, it's an easy question, right?
Well, it was really easy for me. In my denomination, I had to get a Master of Divinity for full ordination. I don't know if they've changed it, but a Master of Theological Studies, as far as I understood, would not count, for lack of a better term. So I knew I wanted an MDiv. And I also, even when I compared the two programs, I liked the emphasis the MDiv had on, well, of course, languages. You have to take languages for, I think, both degrees. But even an MDiv requirement of studying other religious traditions, I thought that was important as well. And so those are a couple of reasons why I picked the MDiv, but of course I needed it anyway. So
unlike Rev, I was not sure what I wanted to do, or just know, like, I needed time and space to figure it out. And so what I loved about the Master of Divinity program is that the field, like Yasmin mentioned, the field education piece, I got to create a lot of the things too I was trying to figure out. So two of my field education experiences, I did one at home and one with the local grassroots community who was focused on like freedom school education. And so just allowing myself to just learn so many different things. And also with the language requirement too, I had to take biblical Hebrew, and that just stretched my mind in a way that it was so cool, you know. And I just really, and it just made you learn things in a different way, different perspective, and just the way I was able to stretch my mind. So I think that would be my answer.
Excellent.
I want to just say one thing here, which is that the MDiv is 3 years. So, you know, the opportunity to be at Harvard Divinity School for longer versus for shorter. And I also I was lucky to get support from the institution. And, you know, in the scheme of my life, I was able to make that choice to stay and to devote myself to that extra year, and to also like engage with ministry, engage with leadership at a different level, which I thought was really helpful. But I mean, just having that year, being able to like breathe out, you know, and be present in the space of Harvard Divinity School was really great to be able to do that.
Excellent. Yasmin, anything you wanted to add?
You know, like I said, I just wanted to study something for a couple of years that sounded interesting. I wasn't on a ministry track. I also, what I'm about to say, it's ironic, I guess, but I had been in politics in Washington, D.C. for a little while, and I didn't want to do that for a little while. So I thought getting my MTS at Harvard Divinity School would be a good opportunity to explore something different, which I did for a while, for the record. But yeah, that's how I picked it.
Excellent.
Hey, Chandra.
Oh, yes.
Sorry, could I add one more thing I forgot to mention? When we were talking about folks, different backgrounds, it may not be particular like religion or divinity. With my last full year, when it was like you had to do some type of senior thesis or creative project, I got to spend that whole year deeply researching and writing all about my hometown. Like I got to choose that and make that what I wanted to be. So that it was me looking at film, video, like stories from my family. Like it could just be whatever you wanted it to be, and it could have still like the validity to it. But it's so many different options to where you can study and express yourself.
Exactly. Perfect. Thank you, guys. This is great. So actually, this is a question I've actually heard before. So how do you contextualize your HDS degree to prospective employers or to anyone in the world who is not familiar with Harvard Divinity School or what Divinity School means? So pretend like you're in a job interview, brand new job. Someone says, "What is divinity?"
I'll go first, I guess. I mean, honestly, in my line of business, I lean on the area of study. So with an master's in theological studies, having that, I think Alessandra said 18 focus areas now, I'm not sure. That focus area of religion, ethics, and politics, I lean on pretty heavily as an explanation. I have transparently found though that like it's set, even if it doesn't make a lot of sense to people, it sets your resume apart, right? So it's a different thing. And a lot of times people are just gonna look at different, like, we'll be like, that's kind of odd. Why don't we just interview her for no other reason than like, who does that kind of thing? So I think that there's it does give you a little bit of an X factor. So that's one thing I'd say. Like I said, I lean on my area of study. And then I think I zero in on like how it has made me different as a professional, right? Like what about it has made me a different professional later? And I think if you can articulate that for yourself at the end of your field of study, it's it's compelling and honest and true to you and your soul, that I think that really comes through. So I've leaned on that as well.
Great. Excellent. Anything to add?
I'll say in my experience, and I try and avoid saying it this way, but the name Harvard tends to ring a bell. Mm-hmm. So for a lot of people, especially outside of New England, I actually wonder if it's not more impactful for people outside of New England, but for a lot of people, the fact that you have a degree from Harvard, at least as someone said, makes your resume stand out, might be another conversational piece. And I think there are some people that are curious about religion and spirituality in an academic sense and in a scholarly sense. And they may be very curious to hear how you approach that, what drew you to that, and how it might be a good offering for whatever job it is you're looking for, not just chaplaincy, but certainly for us.
Right.
Can I add one thing?
Yeah, of course.
So I like to say that going to divinity school kind of gave me like skills as a human, something like broad like that. Like in a way, and my father was like, so like, what exactly can you do now that you did this degree? It's like, I invested in myself, in like this really substantial way. And like, yeah, I just feel I grew, and that I'm not sure exactly where it will take me. This is what I was saying when I was graduating, and it's like life's a journey, right? So that's something I would say, but then also kind of related to what's been said on this question, like, yeah, I mean, living in that space of diversity and that space of difference and being able to speak to those skills of being present in that space and being able to understand and work together with others, noon service, it's just like all kinds of spaces where that's happening, where you're negotiating space. And that's a skill set that I think is relevant for so many positions.
Yeah, absolutely. Great.
I would just add too, around just kind of be a well-rounded leader in whatever field you're in. And for me, particularly the community organizing piece. And again, knowing how to be a facilitator, that is such a key, like people need folks who know how to take care of folks, because there's so much going on. And like people are now realizing like, oh, like people just cannot just exist anymore. They have to be well, all those. So like learning that, and to say that, like, again, able to have these complex conversations and meet people from various backgrounds, and to say like for myself, but I intentionally want to come back to this space, in this community, and bring my tools with me. So that also to set apart, because also as Rev was saying too, like outside the New England space, like the world is yours. So it's not too many people here who can say they have that experience or background. So But we want more, so please come on. I would love to see more people from the South and Memphis. Like, please come on and join. Go to HDS for sure.
Amazing. Thank you. So there is a couple questions that kind of came to this, but I'm going to ask it this way. It says, one of them is, what is it like to interact with the faculty at HDS? I'm going to add on to that, saying, could you describe your experience with the community, dealing with other classmates, dealing with faculty and HDS? Like, how was your day-to-day with the community?
I'll jump in first and say how professors, faculty, students, everyone, like passing by through each other, everybody is just so welcoming and just generous, and everybody's really fully invested in you. Like, outside of like classroom things, if something was going on personally, like there were people that I never even expected was just making sure that I was well and wanting me to know that I had support, because they want you to get the most out of this experience and get what you need, knowing that this is, again, a difficult and challenging but very rewarding experience. So and people are, like, if you need to ask further questions, get some more clarity after class, like I never had an issue with that, because like sometimes I'm like, I don't know what this is, or like, I don't know how to go about figuring out, especially toward the last year, I was like, I don't know what to do in my life. And then just, again, to talk to folks through, like, people were so available to say, like, anything you want to do, like really focus on what you want to do and or what that looks like for you. And so it's just always been, again, just a really great, well-knit, and just willing to help out across the board for both faculty and students in my experience.
Excellent. Anyone else want to add to that one? No. Okay.
I'll say one quick thing, which is just that I found the faculty to be fantastic. And that's a wide range of faculty in all different like backgrounds, areas of research that they do or don't or weren't practicing necessarily at the time. I did a lot of, like, I saw the question in the chat box. I did a lot of like cold email, knock on doors kind of thing. Just be like, hey, I got a question. Can you have time? And the answer was like universally yes. So I could not endorse how fantastic the faculty was while I was there more. And the administration, to their credit, the administration was also really approachable. And I know Dean Hempton announced his retirement, which he deserves, but makes my soul sad. But was incredibly approachable and very warm. And so I give the administration a lot of credit in addition to the faculty for that.
Excellent. Okay. Anyone want to add anything? Okay, so my next question is, what have I not asked you about today? Is there anything that you would like to share with these prospective students that we have not asked or have not been asked in the Q&A box?
I think there was a question about sort of the academic study of religion and personal spirituality. I know that's a gross oversimplification, and I think that is a challenge no matter where you go and no matter what you study. And sort of bridging with the last question, I don't know if there was a place that would have felt so safe for me to have those questions and those struggles, whether it's, sitting with my Judaism professor and talking with him about his faith and how the academic study of scripture has impacted his faith and his practice, or one of my Christian liturgical year professors and talking about that. I always felt like there was a place where I could do that. And that was a place that I could be myself before I had to sort of be this leader or this person for a community. And so that was very, very important to me, and to just be able to sort of say where I come from. I come from this tradition. This is what I bring with me. And so now I'm engaging this other train of thought, and I'm going to find the way that God is going to weave this together. That was kind of how I had to constantly be. And I had people in my community who were constantly reminding me of that as well. And so I think it worked out well for me. And a big part of that is because the community is just so rich. I hope that sort of gets at the question.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Great. Anyone want to add anything?
I'll do three things really quick. In summary, I'd say it taught me how to hold multiple truths at the same time, which can be challenging coming from like where I came from and where I went. So I'd say like that I don't know how to frame that as a question that should have been asked, but that is the answer to whatever that question would be. I want to double down on something Josh said, which was it was an investment in himself. I think if you have the privilege to do that, that rang very true to me. And then the third one is like, I try to convince people constantly who are going to like law school, public policy school, like school for philanthropy or something, and just be like, how about you think about something else? Like widen your scope of horizons a little bit. So since this is like a potential applicant's call, I'd say sort of like, why the heck wouldn't you just do it? Like if you have enough extra cash around to put in the application fee, whatever it is, I'm not sure what it is, so maybe not, but if you do, I would just apply, because like the worst anyone can say is no. So
Excellent. Thank you. Anyone else want to add anything?
I'm
right
sorry,
ahead.
I don't want to talk too much, but I just want to say, first of all, no disrespect, but MDiv 2010 was the greatest class ever. But but I was just sitting here thinking, like, in my class, I have an investigative journalist who is Buddhist and Episcopalian. I have a Methodist friend from the South who's a journalist. I have a classmate who went on to do a whole movie project about telling the stories of persons who were enslaved in America. I mean, I can go up and down the gamut, kind of sort of to what Yasmin was just alluding to. I have MDiv classmates and MTS classmates who are doing all kinds of amazing stuff. And it's just such a testament to the power of the place. And again, the power of the community and the power of the academics that just opens a whole world of possibility.
Excellent.
One other thing I want to share, I think, Susanna, you had a question about preparing for academic and research work in religion and related fields. And so I ended up going on to do a doctorate in education and Jewish studies. Suffice to say, I mean, HDS is a remarkable place to explore doctoral work and to try it out for yourself, to see if that's really your calling, your interest, your jam. I remember writing my MDiv thesis and saying, I'm not going to get a PhD, I don't want to. Anyway, I decided to do it in the end, but it's hard work. And, being at Harvard, which is a, remarkable research institution, is a brilliant and great place to explore it. And you have wonderful resources there and really cutting edge scholarship. Folks, producing knowledge. I mean, that forwards how we understand religion and so many things in the world, and hopefully that also supports our communities in all kinds of ways as well. So it's just a really cool place to explore academia and scholarship and what it can look like in sort of a more nurturing space. That was another thing that I was excited about regarding HDS, where it's, I think, like if you go to some, graduate schools, masters here or there, like you don't get that soul feel. And I think that I got both, and it was just so beautiful to be in such an environment, but also to have that possibility to explore in that serious way, like scholarship, academia, ideas.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, so we do have actually a couple of direct questions. I don't know, Marcus. So one question is for you: is how do you reconcile your spirituality, religiosity with the academic scholarship, which might at times hinder your objectivity?
Yeah, I was sort of trying to speak to that. It's hard. I'm not going to pretend that it isn't. Myself and many others who wanted to be preachers, especially in the Black church tradition, there are some things you learn academically that there's definitely cognitive dissonance, right? Where what you've known and believed clashes with new information. And sometimes that was a really, really hard experience to navigate. And I think myself, like a lot of people in various seminaries, had those moments of real struggle. And again, the community was really important. The professors were really important. Staying in touch with my community was important, and just sort of blending all of that together. But I was able to dive into the academics and grow. And now I actually find that my personal spirituality and my professional work as a minister are just enhanced by that experience.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, so I think I'm looking at the time. So thank you, Josh, Marcus, Yasmin, and Kayla for sharing all of your perspectives that only you can share. So this was a fantastic discussion, and I really want to thank all of you in the audience for your questions. We have written them all down, and if we did not get to it, we will at some point. So I want to invite my colleague Alessandra back into the room for some closing thoughts.
Thank you, Chandra, and thank you, Kayla, Yasmin, Josh, Marcus. You are all phenomenal. And thank you as well to our audience. You asked some really great questions. This was a really enlivening conversation, and I learned a lot. Again, there is so much you can do with a degree from HDS, and it really is impactful. So thank you for the generosity of your time and your experiences. I know that each of you gave selflessly to be here tonight, and you're tuning in from different parts of the country, and you have your own busy schedules. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And yeah, hopefully we'll be in touch with you. And I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day, and hope HDS is in your future. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I'm going to close out the event. Bye.